use me. Here I am. Here I stand. God, my life is in your hands, and I'm longing to see your desires fulfilled in me. I give myself away. Give myself away.
Welcome to Unity Spiritual Center of Saxe. This is August the 7th, 2022. Let's just close our eyes and take a nice deep breath together, shall we? And with that breath, we are affirming this beautiful brand new day that we have been gifted. Clean and free, an unwritten page. And to it, we bring our allness. Everything we are, everything we know, everything we feel, so precious. And the out-breath, releasing anything unlike that, anything you've been carrying around, anything you just know you're ready to let go of. Can we affirm we'll let go of things we just don't need, whether we've named them or not? And in this moment, drawing in a deeper breath and saying yes to life. Thank you, God. Thank you, God, for this precious gift of life. That I can open my eyes and see such beauty. That I can open my eyes and see like-minded individuals that I get to exchange information and energy with. How incredible is that gift of life? And may I be open to how to show up. May I put out tentacles and feelers and curiosity and openness to hearing. How may I connect with the world in ways that are joyous for me and the world? So I claim in this moment a stepping into, a releasing, and a stepping forward. And let's just begin today by listening to the insides and the outsides. What is life saying to me today? And with that thought, let's join together with the song, Spirit's Prayer.
Loving Spirit dwells in me. This is my divinity. As within, so without. All I need is here and now. Where there's air, let me love. May I have no fear. All the power, all the glory, I surrender, let it be. Loving Spirit dwells in me, now and evermore. Loving Spirit dwells in me. This is my divinity. As within, so without. All I need is here and now. now and evermore.
Video.
Hi, I'm Kim Andrews, spiritual leader of Unity Spiritual Center, Saxe. Last Sunday, July 31st, I talked about my experience in the shopping mall where I, quote unquote, lost my car. Couldn't find it in the parking lot. And it was quite disconcerting for me. I spent a couple of hours in 103-degree heat looking for the car and swore up and down I did not park on level 0 when actually I had. But I was pretty convinced that I did not because I was so distracted when I drove into the parking lot. So one of the questions I posed during the talk was, is there anything that you absolutely would swear up and down you were sure about, and that you could possibly be wrong about that very thing? I obviously was that day when I was out in the parking lot. So someone posed this question: what happened to you know that you know that you know? That's a phrase I use when I talk about spiritual confidence. When we have what some people call downloads from spirit, I call them just messages from the divine, or a inner core knowing that either what I'm thinking about or what I'm planning to do is the absolute right thing to do, that I have the confidence about my core beliefs about the world, about the universe, about God. Those are the things that I know, that I know, that I know. I know that the all good is in charge. I know that my life is governed by that all good. That is what I know, that I know, that I know with absolute certainty. And that has been my actual experience of life with that belief. So that belief and what happened on that Thursday in the parking lot are completely different things. But here's the difference. I had a conscious knowing, I thought, where I parked my car. Had nothing to do with spiritual confidence. What I was confident about that entire afternoon as I was searching for my car and swearing up and down that I had not parked on level 0 was that no matter what the circumstance was, whether my car was stolen, whether something was just wrong with me and I just blanked out for half a second, I thought, do I have the beginnings of dementia? And I'm serious about that because I was just so upset about what happened. That entire time, though, I could feel this inner core of peace because I did know that no matter what the circumstances were related to my car being quote unquote missing, that I was going to be okay. That even if the car had been stolen and never found, we would have had another means of transportation that came to us easily and gracefully. I knew that if something was indeed wrong with my mind, with my brain, that I would be guided and protected through that as well. I always believe that I have whatever it is that I need to handle whatever it is that's coming down my path. So even though on one level, I was very confused about what happened and really didn't know the truth of what occurred with my car because subconsciously I was aware that I parked on level 0, but in my conscious mind I was not because I was so distracted when I drove in. What I do know is that I was okay. I had a knowing, an inner knowing, a spiritual confidence that my husband was the right person to call. He showed up, he was there for me, and he was there for me in a way that I probably could not have asked him to be there. He really just supported me and stayed with me and hung in with me through that experience. I also knew, like I said, that the situation would be taken care of during and afterwards, that we would have everything that we needed if the car just had indeed been stolen, and that if something were physically wrong with me, that too would be handled according to my highest and best in life at this time in my life. So yes, I still knew that I knew that I knew. I still knew that the all good was in charge. Absolutely. Absolutely. And as I was in that situation, especially when I was waiting for my husband to come get me, I marveled at my inner calm as I was sitting in the Starbucks in the mall and having my pretzel bites and some water. I knew that it was going to be okay, no matter what the circumstances were. Did I know at the time that my husband was going to end up finding the car on level 0? No, I didn't. But I did know that everything was going to be okay, no matter what. And that is my core belief. That is spiritual confidence. And that's the difference between what I experience and what my rational mind was aware of, and what my spiritual confidence holds and affirms all the time, no matter what. So yes, I do know that I know that I know that the all good is in charge, always and in all ways. Thank you.
That was great. If you go over to that mic there.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Cedric the Entertainer does a good morning. Today, the inspirational moment word is faith. My power of faith is my ability to believe and have conviction. It is my inner assurance of something before it can be seen. I may not be able to control what happens around me, but I am always free to choose what happens within me. My perception determines all of my experiences. When I engage my power of faith, I am assured of a vibrant wholeness that is present even during illness. I have conviction that harmony is possible even during apparent discord. When my needs appear greater than my resources, I have the inner assurance that substance is my limitless supply of divine ideas. My inner assurance is of my enduring divinity. It is always greater than any circumstance. I align with my divinity now and set myself free. Please repeat the affirmation with me 3 times.
I faithfully focus on my divinity. I faithfully focus on my divinity. I faithfully focus on my divinity.
Good morning.
Good morning, Candy.
My name is Candy Williams, and I would like to ask you please to say hi to our friend, my friend, Lenny Nance.
Hi, Lenny.
Okay, if you know this song, you are welcome to sing along. This is from Ricky Byers, and just a gentle request, use me. Here we go. show me all that I must do. I used to think that God was the sun, God is the sun, and God's so much more than the earth and the stars and all of creation. God is creator, all in all, needing us to shine the light as me, as you so use me. Oh God, I stand for you, and here I'll abide as you show me all that I must do. Oh, command my hands, what must they do? Command my life, it's here for you. God is the love that heals all creation. God is creator, makes all things new, and God needs us to shine the light as me and as you. So use me. Oh God, I stand for you, and here I'll abide as you show me all that I must do. Oh, we've got work to do, and God needs us to shine the light. God needs us to walk our light. God needs us to shine the light as me and as you so use me. Oh God, I stand for you, and here I'll abide as you show me all that I must do. Show me all that I must do. Show me all that I must do. It's Lenny. Thank you.
Yeah. No, absolutely perfect. Thank you all for being here today. As I was walking around my very hot backyard yesterday, I was pondering the process of preparing for a talk, which seems to unfold similarly for me each time this comes up. And what kind of happens is I just start paying attention. What's going on in my world? What's kind of up for me? Because I find if I address whatever I'm feeling, it tends to be common to what other people can relate to, and we have a lesson. So this week was different. For some reason, nothing was really bubbling up for me. It's not unusual for something to bubble up and me discard it because it was maybe the seed of a thought, that sort of thing. But for some reason, it wasn't really coming. And so I was walking around in the backyard just kind of trying to listen, trying to do something different from my normal routine, to just listen. And when I got to that space and took a deep breath, the first thing that I heard was, just be more of yourself. And I thought how often I use that in my prayers and in my talks about how we tune into those things that are so uniquely us and how we connect to that light within, and we're able to express from that special place that feels so authentic and real because we know it's us. We know that. We know it's us, and we know it's connected to the divine. And so what came up for me about that was, well, how do I show up more as me? What does this look like? You know, that kind of thing. And so the first thing that popped in for me was that I've had this craving to write again, because that's something I love. And I've always loved from the time I was a child. I invite you to think, when you're looking for your playlist of things that delight and lift you, to just think back to your childhood, because often your first inclinations, it's because there's something that connects with your spirit. And try to remember what those things were you got so much delight in. And maybe there's some part of that that would do that for you now. I remember I loved jump rope. Okay, I'm thinking now, I don't know that my body would like that too much. So that's probably not one I'm going to do. You know, I could, I suppose, just kind of throw it over my head and step over it, and maybe we could work up to something. But I loved hopscotch. And I got tickled thinking yesterday about going outside and drawing a little hopscotch board, and that maybe that would be a really fun thing to do that would make me laugh and be silly. I think silliness is underrated because I think it breaks us out of our usual way of thinking, you know, and it opens us up to not thinking we have to stay in a certain box of the way that we think we are. You know, a friend of mine liked to call it the idols of how it should be. I think that's actually from the Course in Miracles, but the idols of how I should be, whatever image that I think I have to continue to portray, whatever image I think I have to portray to myself. But can I get that curiosity? Can I open up like that child? I really believe Jesus talking about be like the little children, is that idea of, if we think we know it all, we're not opening the space to learn anything new or to do anything differently. And as we know, if we keep doing the same thing, we're going to get the same results. So I started thinking about what happens when we connect with that. And I think that is the birthplace of creativity. And that I think, too, if we can get it in our minds, I really, 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 really have come to feel that part of preparing the space for creativity to occur is to make sure we have felt safe. And what I mean by that is we have to remove the self-judgment, number one. You being able to think of this as the grand experiment. Randy and I have been watching this incredible series on Hulu, I think it is, about Paul McCartney. If you get a chance, it's fabulous. And they're little half-hour segments, and I think there's 6 of them. And you watch he's telling the stories of how these things came about, and they found inspiration everywhere. The turn of a phrase, we got a big kick out of the story of how the Sergeant Pepper came up. He was on a plane, and his roadie next to him said something about, can you pass the salt and pepper? And he said, what do you say about Sergeant Pepper? And he goes, no, salt and pepper, mate, you know. And so he's like, oh, Sergeant Pepper, that's kind of a cool name. They come up with a song. And he had a lot of great stories like that. So my point is, man, you have to be open to everything. You might find cool answers. And the self-judgment part, any artist will tell you, everything does not come out perfectly the first time. And so there has to be some forgiveness for that process and that creativity, that it is an experiment. One of the things I love to sing, and it's something that, oh man, we just really got into a while back, and it's been a long time. But one of the things that helped me, I sang in choirs for a long time, and then I started getting solos, but I found that, man, I could sing it great at home, and then I'd get up in front of the audience, and my voice would get very tight, and sometimes it would even go off pitch because I was so nervous, and I could hear that it was off pitch. I had a good ear. I could hear it wasn't right, but I couldn't fix it in that moment because my vocal cords weren't behaving, and it was all due to stress, right? So the cure for me came in a very unexpected place, karaoke. And this is why, not just because there's the obvious thing of getting up in front of other people and getting used to that, right? But karaoke, I don't know where these people come from, but they are really got it. And this is why I say this. Because karaoke is not about being perfect. It is about having the courage to get up on that stage. And people, I noticed, I didn't see anybody getting made fun of. I didn't see any, and this doesn't matter where I went to do it. It didn't matter if you were good, if you were not good. And I mean, there were some people, myself included, that sometimes just didn't really have it, you know. But the applause was almost the same. And I really think there is something, it's because people were saying, you had the guts to get up there and do that. And we are a supportive environment, and we're here for you because he's calling my name next, and I know it. You know, and so there's this sense of, what if we can provide that for other people? Number one, that would be amazing. That, hey, we're in a grand experiment here. Good for you for trying. Good for you. And every time you get up, you're going to have a little more confidence and be a little bit better. And that's okay. And if you're not, okay, we'll be here for you, and we'll clap, you know, that kind of thing. And that's actually what gave me the confidence, is because I failed enough times. It was the failures that I would call failures that taught me that I survived, and I'm here, and I didn't die, and even if they had booed, I'm still here. You know what I'm saying? And so it gave me the confidence to open up and take a deep breath on those solo performances. And it was a whole other ball game. And, you know, I know as a performer, you know, sometimes you're going to be right on and sometimes you're not. But it is just the freedom to not judge yourself. That's the biggest thing. So as I'm walking around the backyard and thinking about writing, I thought it would be really gutsy of me to get up here and share some writing with you. But from this point of view, to say this is why. Because we all have things that we're creative with. We have different talents from each other. We have different ways we like to share. But to not underestimate any little thing that you have to give, because you do not know who you are blessing. I can't tell you how many times I learned by example. You know, just to pull out another way that I kind of overcame my self-judgment. When I was a very young lady and I did some modeling, I would get up there and I would be like, I don't feel very pretty, and I don't know how to stand, and it was like the vocal cord kind of thing. It just came off kind of stiff, right? So then I get in a group where there's several of us doing a shoot, and this one girl gets up there. She wasn't the prettiest in the room. She wasn't whatever. That had nothing to do with it. She was all over, man. She was personality plus. And I went, I'm an actor. I'm just happy to be modeling. I was more of an actor than a modeler, you know, a model. So I said, oh, I can do that. That woman will never know how she freed me up and how that became an example in my mind of using your whole self, of stepping in and trying. Let them pull you back in, but, well, under certain circumstances. But, you know, it just changed everything for me. And it was like nobody gives you a rule book in some of those scenarios. And life is the same way. You know, the photographers didn't say, just play. You know, sometimes they would, maybe if they were a good one or whatever. We weren't really at that level. You know what I'm saying? And so it's, how do we give ourselves permission to just lay it out there, to go out on a limb? And I really think it stems from believing that it's okay, regardless of the outcome, which really is a lovely thing about what Kim said. It's foundational for this. If you know where you live inside, the rest is like scrap paper playground, and maybe it'll turn into a magnificent piece of art, and maybe it'll be doodles, but it's all the grand experiment, and you're fine-tuning your skills and your abilities and your connection. That's really what it comes down to, is by playing, when you find that groove and you find that hum and you find that flow, then it's all available to you. And to let yourself be delighted by life. I mean, you know, it's not about what you do great. It's what lights you up. I mean, I used it as an example one time. What a terrible bowler I am. But I used to love to do it. And I didn't care, right? So it was just fun. I liked going, keeping score, the camaraderie, the little shoes, the whatever. You know what I'm saying? And I could get into it. And I didn't have to be good at it to have a good time at it. And a lot of people that go to karaoke know that too, right? So my point is to just, the place that creativity comes from is that space that we're trying to find as our happy place, as our dwelling place, that it's not just some place we visit, but how do we learn to live from that place, to live from the flow, to have it be our dwelling place? And I think that phrase, the dwelling place of the Most High, you know? I love that. So let me grab a tissue here 1 second. Okay, so Albert Einstein had this to say about creativity. He said, creativity is seeing what others see and thinking what no one else ever thought. So I thought about that, and I went, you know, we're in that age where we feel like everything under the sun is, you know, everything's been done, that kind of thing. And I know that held me back in a lot of ways, because I went, well, I'm not going to say it any better than so-and-so would say it, or sing it any better than that person, so why would I even? No, it's not about that. It's about what resonates so strongly in me that I want to do it. And I'll share this with you. When I was a child, there were a lot of issues going on. It was not an easy childhood. Most of us can say the same. I think that's just it's a difficult time. It's almost like that's the roll of the dice, right? And then we spend the rest of our life trying to overcome whatever that first hand was, right? Sometimes that's how it feels. And so I think we just have to cherish those things which we know light us up. And in my case, I found that an outlet, I had 2 older brothers. You know, my dad was domineering, my mom was busy and creative and talented, and so I think there was just this thing in me that wanted to express another way, that had to find my voice. And the way I could do it quietly and on my own and with nobody's looking over my shoulder was for me to write. And I started writing poems when I was really little. It was just something, I liked nursery rhymes. I think I liked the rhyming aspect and all that sort of thing. So in 5th grade, I wrote this. I'm just sharing. So we were given the assignment to write a poem. Let me think. Oh, yeah. So it was this. 10 years old, okay. So the autumn leaves fall from the trees and make a nest where I can rest. I crunch in the leaves that fall from the trees and make a big heap in which to leap. And so for 10, I thought that was pretty good. And it was just about capturing that feeling and the fun and the energy. And I got kudos enough for it to make me want to try that again. Oh, really? This might be something I'm good at, right? So, you know, I would do that, and I would write my poems, and I most of the time didn't really share them with anyone. But I'm just saying there's this place, this creativity, I think, is sometimes born of that light that must express itself. And sometimes I think it's that top layer that is the angst that needs to express itself. And that's why artists often can write that sad song from that place of heartbreak, but everybody can connect with it. You know, it's still from a creative place because it's authentic. It's an authentic experience. And like I like to say when I'm having a hard time, that may be my truth in that moment, but the capital T truth hasn't come if I haven't felt the resolution. So that's why I want to dig deeper. That's just an aside. George Lois said, you can be cautious or you can be creative, but there is no such thing as a cautious creative. And that's why I say there has to be that willingness to experiment and to find out what is that in me that just wants to, you know, what can I play with? Like I do not think of myself as an artist at all. I have a daughter who is an amazing artist. Whenever we had art class, man, I was like, oh no, because I could never even think of something to draw, and when I tried, that was not my forte. But I found I like to doodle. I love to play in clay. This is something, you know, on my bucket list to like take a, you know what I'm saying? And I'm just saying these are things, when I think of doing that, I get excited. So that's something I should follow up on, because my spirit is saying that would be fun. And we need to know fun is not something we have on our off time once we complete everything, you know, when your homework's done, right? I think it's part of what brings the flow back to everything you do. And then you remember that it's okay to have fun at work. You remember that it's okay to have fun when you're washing the dishes. It's okay to, you know, but I don't think until you invite back in that flow. So I used my poems over the years for a lot of different things. Greeting cards, I could have worked for, you know, because I had kind of a pedantic sort of predictable outlook, I would say. And then I got where I just kind of wanted to have fun with it a little more. And so this one speaks for itself when you consider I was 15 when I wrote this, and I was staying over to a girlfriend's house. This was written to her mother the next morning, and it's called Mutual Surprise. At 5 a.m. in the morning, when you came down the stairs, you found Lori and I on the sofa and Matt in one of the chairs. I'll admit it was unexpected. In fact, it was quite a surprise. While everyone else looked up and laughed, I couldn't look into your eyes. You sent us up to bed then, and a lesson we have sought, that if you do something sneaky, make sure you don't get caught. So it became an outlet for me, and like I say, there was so much I judged myself about, but it was just a way to play. It was a way to think, and I always wished I had learned guitar because I would have loved to have written songs. I've had a couple of poems I wrote set to music, and I had a gentleman who had music, and he knew what he wanted it to say, and I wrote him the lyrics, so I had a little dabble in that, but I didn't really get to play with that like I wished that I had. And so in my personal journey, it would just come up once in a while. It was kind of on the back burner, but I found that when I was hurting a lot or when I was just overflowing, it was an outlet for me. And so consider that as well. It's an outlet for your feelings to, instead of shying away from them, to walk into them and be with them. And to try to, when you capture a feeling or an experience, you've seen how many songs that become your favorite songs because you're like, oh yeah, I know what that feels like. You know, or you can imagine it. And so it's not just for you, but for whomever you're sharing with. And so I had a friend who was teaching a class on codependence and asked me to write something that sort of illustrated the fact that people being codependent often don't even realize that they're doing it. I'm not quite sure why she asked me to write it. Actually, I just dove right in and it came right out. So it's called Your World of Mine. And it goes, the sun rises in your eyes, my day begins. And with your moods, the seasons change within my heart. When you are happy, my own joy knows no bounds. Your sadness brings a void within my soul. Now, my young self would have thought that was rather romantic, but you can hear, right? I live to bring that glow within your eyes and see your smile divide your lips so fine, to whisper how your world becomes my own and how your hopes and dreams and fears are mine. You come to me today with something new. I've never seen this look in this face I've memorized. You tell me someone's come and changed your world, which changes mine. She's caught your eye, and now she'll take your time. While the world around me crumbles with your every word and sigh, the only thing within me is to ask the question, why? She's independent, is all you'll say. And then you turn and go away. And in the ashes and the ruins of the palace I once knew, I whisper, I'd be independent if you'd only asked me to. You know, and so to capture that feeling of what, did she not get it? I think she missed the lesson on that boat, you know? And no, that wasn't written about anybody in particular. I'll just mention that while Randy's in the room. So I appreciate you giving me the opportunity to share some of, and I think too, we never know how we move people when we share of ourselves. It doesn't have to be poetry. How many times has someone just sat and listened to you and held your hands and looked so deeply into your eyes that you could hear their soul? And you felt their presence, you felt that connection, and sometimes these wise words would come, and sometimes just the presence is all you need. It all is born of that creativity, isn't it? Albert Einstein also said, creativity is intelligence having fun. He had a lot to say about it, which makes me think, doesn't it? If Albert Einstein pondered creativity so much, there must be something we need to pay attention to, right? He also said, and I'll just say this one because that's all I have on him right now, is the really valuable thing in the pageant of human life seems to me not the state, but the creative, sentient individual, the personality. It alone creates the noble and the sublime, while the herd, as such, remains dull in thought and dull in feeling. So he's the value of the personality. Think of that word even, personality, you know? It's that individuality, that person. Who is that person? Who are we? Which brings me, this one is the one I wrote when I sat down and said I need to write. And the rest of it kind of came around it. And so I think it incorporates what I'm trying to say about getting to that place and also just being able to express in this way. So this one is called Goodness is Godness. Look inside, you hear them say. From where, I ask? I'm not away. I'll be inside and look around. Afraid to be, afraid to see. We act as though we're unknown ground. And yet with others we might think, I wish they'd see, I wish they'd link. Not confident, we know ourselves. We keep our talents on the shelves and dust them off when needs arise. So our strengths are often a surprise. We know they're there, and some will name, but often look away in shame. We're taught to never brag or boast, not to our inner selves the most. So how are we to know this light, to dwell within without a fight? A lifetime of both bad and good, we land in limbo on the should. We've been taught, embrace the role, of sinner, failure, cause of woe, when to be at home, to be at peace, fear of my goodness I must release? Can I look into the eyes of me and feel delight in what I see? Can I squarely look into those eyes and see the wisdom that does rise? Why would we think that our greatness known would make us wander from our home, becoming more than we should be, when all I want is to be me? When there is glory, let me shine. When there is not, then let me whine. I'll come back to linger here, to savor, treasure, with no fear. Within the space where I do well, I find the space where I dwell. So voices out or inward be, I choose the ones supporting me, the ones that tell me I'm all right. No need for strain. There is no fight. For who would know but my own self if I have too much on that shelf? If I'm not afraid to take a look, my list of goodness is the book that I read every single day that feeds my knowledge of my way. I breathe into the depth of me. From this high ground, I now can see how you and I connect so well, because you know where your soul dwells. So I'd like to take these feelings into meditation, these thoughts and feelings into the meditation now. So breathe deeply. I know that's a lot of words. But just shaking all of that off and see what remains. Is there a part in you that feels a spark? A spark that is uniquely you. No judgment, no comparison, but just this part of you that longs to be free, to express, to dance, to sing, to cry, just whatever it needs, whatever it needs. What if it's okay? And can you picture yourself embracing this probably tentative one within you, this inner child, or however you envision it? Can you support its desire to express from its most authentic core this light, the spark that is connected to the all? And we say in this time, can we breathe and accept this one? Everything they do well, everything they don't do well. That this grand experiment, there is this inner being that just wants to be free to live and express and enjoy life. That simple. And in the enjoyment of life, we've come to understand that as that spirit, that great spirit that connects us all. And so the more that we understand that being that we are, the more authentically we can enjoy each other. The more we forgive ourselves, how much quicker are we to understand how to forgive other people? To understand that we're not going to know every little reason for every little quirk they have. It's just not going to be in our knowledge. How much of that do we know about ourselves? And so can we accept that they're in a grand experiment too? Can we breathe for a moment and say, all is well. All is well. In God I dwell. Spirit is what nurtures me. Spirit is my connection to the spark, but it's also what nurtures the flame, that the more I understand that I'm okay, the more okay I become, and the more of that wants to come out. Can I invite it out to play? And can I see that the more that I support it, the stronger its strengths and abilities and refinement for talents, for strengths. But I have to accept it. So I'm saying yes. Say yes to that inner self. Yes. Yes, you can go play. And you might fall on your nose sometimes. But you'll get up. Because you are a curious being who wants to live more. There's more to be seen. There's more to be done. There's more to enjoy. I can learn from everyone. I am not in competition with anyone. I set aside the inner fight. I am at peace. I am at peace within my soul. That song, All Is Well with My Soul. Can I express from that place of knowing? Can I express from that place of knowing? The grand experiment, trusting myself, trusting that inner GPS I have that's not going to let me go harm someone. I'm so beyond that. And if I do it accidentally, may I quickly heal it. Quickly, wholeheartedly. It is well with my soul. And I wish this so much, and I feel that so deeply that it's overflowing, and I want that for you. We all want that for each other. That deep, abiding feeling of self-acceptance that says, all is well with my soul. It's a kind of interesting thing, isn't it? That the self-acceptance comes from knowing our connection with God. So it's, that individuality, but yet, it's that place of allness where we really dwell. We do well there. And so from this space, accept that healing, this ongoing expression that you are, this miraculous being that expresses as you in this life. And from that place of just wishing good for all ones, can we bring in the names of those people we would pray for at this time? And feel free to say them aloud or to yourself, either one. And we surround Kim with our gratitude and love. And Vicki, we're all thinking of you. Deja, Susan, Katie Kate, Linda. And in your mind's eye, will you hold a vision of every one of them with this great creative space in their core where they are accepting that all is well with my soul. All is well. Spirit in charge. In here I dwell. And there's this sense of the inner and the outer coming to harmony. Coming to harmony. The good within, the good without. The voices I listen to in my head and outside of me, those that support me. And there comes a part where there's no voice, there's just the knowing that all is well. So thank you, Mother, Father, God, for this vision of our allness, both individually and together. And so at this time, let's do our celebration of giving together. Divine love, as me, blesses and multiplies all the good that I am and have, all the good that I give and receive. And so it is. Yes, it is time for you, baby.
And so, yeah, it's my turn, right? It's our turn, right? Okay, so talk about play. This is Lenny. And Lenny, we planned this out, and I forgot how we were supposed to do it. So we are open to creativity, and who's starting, baby? You or me? Who's starting? You?
I said, people, keep on learning. For you soldiers, keep on worrying. World, keep on turning. 'Cause it won't be too long.
I hear you singing, Pete.
Oh no. I said power, keep on lying, yeah.
Keep on lying, yeah.
While your people keep on dying.
Keep on dying, yeah.
World, keep on turning. 'Cause it won't be too long.
Here's Pete.
Oh no.
I'm so darn glad he let me try it again. 'Cause my last time on earth I lived a whole world of sin. I'm so glad that I know more than I knew then. Gonna keep on trying till I reach my highest ground. Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. I think it's my turn right here. Teachers, keep on teaching. Oh yeah. Hey preachers, keep on preaching. Big old beautiful world, keep on turning. 'Cause it won't be too long. Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. Hey lovers, keep on loving. Believers, keep on believing. Oh, hey, but sleepers, just stop sleeping. 'Cause it won't be too long. Oh no, it won't be too long. Yeah, 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 yeah.
So bad that you let me try it again. 'Cause the last time around I lived the whole world to sin. I'm so glad that I knew more than I knew then. gotta keep on trying till I reach my highest ground.
Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. Till
I reach my highest
no
ground.
one's gonna till I reach my. No one's gonna till
God's
I
gonna
reach,
show you higher
till
ground.
I reach my. Sure enough, reach my. Till
Oh, Lord.
I reach my
Gonna show you higher ground.
highest ground, highest ground, highest ground, highest
Put
ground.
it down, yeah.
Highest ground, highest ground, highest ground. Lenny Nance.
Oh, that was awesome. Sorry, I just woohooed in your ear cue. So, okay, so let's bless our offering, if you would. Do we not feel blessed after that? Woo! So thank you for the music, for the laughter, for the amazing people that walk through these doors. And those of you online, we include you in this love and this healing energy all the time. So thank you for all the time, treasures, and talent that go into this place. And we flow. We keep the flow going and pour it right on back out. And all is well. So we normally would have announcements at this time. We really just have one, and that is that there is a card out in the fellowship area out here for Vicky, if you haven't signed it yet. Vicky just lost her dear husband Calvin just last Monday, and so we'd like to send her a card. And if you have a moment that you can write your name in there and send her a little message, that would be great. Okay, Jan.
Thought I'd dance with Pete. Okay, if you'll repeat with me, please, the vision and mission.
We are Unity Spiritual Center Saxe. We are a thriving global community of spiritual seekers transforming lives through love and the expression of our innately divine gifts. Our mission is to inspire spiritual and personal growth through the teaching and demonstration of unity principles toward the realization of living our best lives. Divine wisdom is at work in every area of our lives right now. Everything is always working out for us. That is so good. Okay, and so taking all of the fun this week, have fun this week. Think of what that little person in you liked to do and see if there's any way to translate it into what you could do today. And if not, just look for that spark. Look for some fun in your life in the things that you're doing. I believe we can find fun anywhere. So I invite you to be curious, and stay with this open-minded, childlike look for the way to make it fun. So we go forward in this week with great gratitude and joy, and we let it be so. Thank you, God. Namaste.